Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Tracee Ford. Welcome to the Stages of Chaos. This is the 6th stage of chaos that we're going to talk about this evening. And it is the stage of resolve. What does this mean? This actually means that you have reached the point where you can make a decision. You make a conscious decision to turn things around, or to take steps to turn things around. The synonym for resolve is to decide. Also, it means to change or convert, or even to bring you to a point to reach a successful conclusion. So the purpose of this stage is to point you toward healing. When you have worked through all of the other stages, like shock and denial and anger and resentment, and all of those wonderful stages, especially depression, this is the stage where you reach the point where you can point your compass toward a way to resolve your pain, your hurt, and to find your path. Basically, this is the stage where you start to figure things out. You've come off of this emotional roller coaster long enough to gather your thoughts and to choose. I'm going to fix the camera too. Sorry. This thing's driving me crazy. There we go. Sometimes there is more than one way to resolve things. For example, in my situation, I am looking at several different paths or alternatives to bring myself out of the situation that I found myself in. Also, there are decisions that have been made for me by various entities that are looking out for my best interest. Essentially, when you do have someone like a lawyer or a therapist or someone like that, it can take some of the weight off of you so that you can focus on getting through the stages successfully and finding your resolve. At the fork, and there may be many forks in the road, think about each outcome. What catastrophe has befell you? You need to learn from that. Whatever catastrophe has befell you. It may be that you were meant to learn patience, or strength, or love, or bravery, or self-acceptance, or how to get closer to God, or any of the aforementioned, or even things that I'm leaving out. But no matter what, sit and contemplate what each road looks like and where it might take you, and the outcome of walking down that path. It also may mean that you can walk down two paths at once. They might be right side by side, which means decision 1 can complement decision 2, or path 1 can complement path 2, or they happen at the same time. Don't jump the gun when you have to make a decision. Try to think very hard. And that is very hard to do, especially when you are dealing with the grieving process. The death of a loved one is sometimes so overwhelming that it can take a significant amount of time to reach a resolve. But you will know when it comes, and the fact of the matter is, you may have difficulty finding resolve because sometimes that person takes a piece of you with them. So you're faced with sort of going through the motions, but even then, you're still trying. You are attempting to work through the things that you have to work through, even though you're numb, maybe. Death and dying stages teach us that no major decisions should be made within the first 6 months of the loss of a loved one. Take your time. Take your time to learn to live without that person. Don't feel rushed to make things happen. Some things you'll have to deal with sooner than later. Funeral arrangements, last wishes, finances. But if you can take any time at all to get your bearings, do it. Hasty choices, hasty decisions come with consequences. However, there are some things that are resolved as a matter of principle, or even one of those situations where you just know in your heart that it's right. Check yourself no matter what. It may be that God is opening many, many doors at once on purpose, so that you have to seek His will to figure out which one of those doors opens to a successful path. I have never been one to be comfortable with making life-changing decisions. Some decisions that were life-changing were made for me, but I've always had difficulty making life-changing choices. I'm always afraid of the backfire effect. The situation I'm in right now is a result of the backfire effect. I should have stayed where I was with the people that cared about me. I did not have peace about the road that I went down, thus here I am. The backfire effect. However, in saying that, I don't think it was all bad. It's when we travel those unknown recesses of our destiny map that God has the chance to use situations to make us better. In essence, the business of God is to make the best of a mess sometimes. What choice does He have? He probably sits there with his head in his hands, just shaking his head and saying, "What have you gotten yourself into this time?" But really, these are teaching moments for Him, or for your spirit. They are times for us to learn where we are supposed to go, and whatever lesson we've been too hard-headed to learn, or a new lesson perhaps. But it's a teaching moment. I have always been a drifter. I have never truly known what I wanted to do when I grew up. I knew that I wanted to write. I knew that beyond a shadow of a doubt. But recently, I became resolved with this drifter syndrome. I wasn't for a very long time. I thought there was something wrong with me because I didn't know what my calling was. In fact, I thought my calling was to help protect children and families. And at that time, it was my calling to do that. I have always chosen jobs that paid the bills. When I chose the job in child welfare, it was because I knew that was the degree that I went for, social sciences, and that was the profession I knew I needed to be in order to utilize my degree. Once I got into it, I knew that's what I needed to be doing. Were those wrong choices? Only God knows. But during those times, God used me for a greater plan. A plan I probably wasn't aware of and may never even be privy to. I was in child welfare, like I said, for over 8 years. I have no way of knowing what my Creator did during my time in that career. I was not a believer at that point. I was an atheist. So I have no idea how many lives I touched, and I really didn't even care. I had a job to do. I can't count how many lives touched me. I still have friendships that I have taken with me through that career path. Friendships that won't fail me. So I got something beneficial and positive out of the situation. So being pushed out of the field, was it a tragedy? Or was it part of God's divine calling? Did he set things in motion using me to carry out those things, to move out of one place so he could put me in another? I realize that for those of us that don't have this lifelong calling everyone talks about, we are used to fill in the gaps. Creator puts us where he can use us at that particular time. So essentially, we drifters do have a calling. That is our calling. To be used so God can drift us in and out of blank spaces. He recruits us to be at the perfect time. That time where we can impact the overall plan. We are always given the blessing of options and various callings throughout our entire lives. We're divinely placed. So when you look down at yourself or feel bad about yourself for not having any direction, or you feel like you don't have direction, be encouraged. We have a great role to play in this thing called life. We are strategically placed. What better calling is there? Some people are called to be teachers, others preachers, others doctors, others nurses. For us drifters, we can be all of those things at one time or another if God chooses to put us on that path. The other aspect of resolve is that it provides hope and reinforces our faith. There is never downtime, even though it might seem like there is. There is always something going on behind the curtains. God is always working. If you see the downtime, use it. I went back for more education. I always said if I ever lost my job or ever quit, I would go back for more education. I would learn something new. And that is exactly why you see me in scrubs, is because I'm learning something new. I also know that God puts desire in your heart. He will put desire in your heart to pursue a particular field that he thinks he can use you in, or to take up that downtime that you think is there. The one thing that I know that I was born with was the willingness and ability to help and nurture people. So that's naturally why I picked the current study that I'm in, which is nursing assisting. I want to help people. That I was born with. That is part of my divine calling. Don't get me wrong. I get mad sometimes. I can be mean. If you cross me maliciously, if you are intending to do me harm or my child harm, I would not recommend that. But overall, I don't want to hurt people. I want to help people, which is why I do these programs. In conclusion, the sixth stage of chaos gives us a wealth of opportunity to do something we never thought we could. Once all of the smoke is cleared, you can make up your mind and move forward toward overcoming. Yes, you'll still experience the anger and the denial. The biggest struggle I have had is the anger, resentment, and the depression. Even though I found some resolve. But if you've got your eye on the prize, it's pretty hard to deter someone with that kind of determination. When someone has hope, that is a powerful thing. And paired with faith, there isn't much that you can't accomplish at that point with the strength and the grace of God. Remember where the inner strength comes from. It comes from life experience, pain, hurt, joy, happiness, sadness, grief. All of those things have created one of two options within yourself. Inner strength, positive, or a defeatist attitude, negative. Some situations we absolutely bring on ourselves, and then God is forced to use the broom to clean it up. But other times, we are moved into and out of circumstances that will add to the inner strength and our faith and our hope. Where there is life, there is hope. Even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. For the terminally ill, for the disabled, for the person who is suffering and crying and grieving over a loved one, there is hope. There are people that have been strategically placed to provide you hope. Even if you're unemployed and you are banging your head against the wall, looking for work, there is hope. Someone, somewhere will see the value in you and your skills. Even if you've made mistakes, or if you've been deliberately set up to fail, someone will see your value. Hope can bring on that resolve, that decision making. Doing can also bring on resolve. Most of all, faith can encourage resolve. Don't sit idly. There's always something going on, even if you can't see it. It's there, and it's happening. So with that, I'd like to thank you for tuning in. If you have questions, please email me. Find me at traceeford.com, or you can comment here. Otherwise, have a wonderful, blessed day. Love and light to you, and God bless you.